Actually, I flew the correct distance to the sun because this Brundleburger with toasted sesame and cheddar buttercream is actually delicious. It tastes great and original and interesting. It's smoky and kind of savory, but still very nutty and definitely a dessert. Oh. Oh, hi there. My name's Andy, and welcome to the Cakes Have Eyes and my perfect kitchen where nothing ever goes wrong, and I definitely don't ever storm out in tears. That's not at all what I wanted to have happen. These layers. Okay. Oh. Today I'm making a cake inspired by, honestly, a great horror movie. One that you may not have seen, but you've probably seen referenced. Of course, I'm talking about the Geena Davis and Jeff Goldblum, David Cronenburg masterpiece, The Fly. In honor of The Fly, I originally drew a pretty simple cake, but then I thought, where's the hubris? Where's the failure? Where's the screaming into the void as your skin peels off? This cake has a lot of weird combinations of flavors, some of which I know already work really well. We're talking toasted sesame, we're talking tahini, we're talking rye, we're talking chocolate. I wanted to make this cake kind of petite because I don't know that adding really creamy cheddar cheese buttercream is gonna be good. Unfortunately, I only have an 8-inch hemisphere cake, so this is gonna be a lot. Now, I do believe that the most complicated part of this bake is measuring the ingredients. Honestly, because of the size of the cake pan, I had to adjust some of my recipes. You can find all of that on thecakeshaveeyes.com or on Instagram. I throw up some recipe cards. If you don't follow me on Instagram or subscribe here, please do so now. That's something people reference and then like a button pops up. Is it working? I'll know if it's working later. My Brundleburger with cheese is going to be 3 layers of toasted sesame cake. It's essentially a rye and all-purpose cake with some toasted sesame oil, some sesame seeds in there, and a sesame seed kind of crust on the outside. And then 2 layers, the burger, will be my chocolate tahini cake. I'm going to be adding some chilled slabs of really creamy, almost French buttercream with some very finely shredded cheddar cheese to give it like a cheesy, nutty, chocolatey flavor. It might be so disgusting. Let's go. This cake really is that the cake is the star. I mean, it's going to be a tower of cake. So the cake's got to taste really good. And the buttercream both holds it together and also just, you know, kind of adds a little bit of textural difference. I thought about doing like a is it cake kind of style cheeseburger. And then I realized I don't have any talent for that. I have no idea how to make a realistic looking cake. So that was an experiment that was doomed to fail. It was really like a first baboon in the telepod kind of idea. Now I'm just making, I don't know, 14 pounds of cake. Not that much, I hope. Okay, cut my rounds to this. I don't like to spray my pans until right before I put the batter in, so it all doesn't kind of like drip down. But, chocolate tahini cake. Putting together all the dry ingredients. And my house is unair conditioned, which means that as the spring is starting to begin and the rain is starting to begin, literally my flour is starting to clump. See that? It's starting to clump. In a couple of weeks, hopefully a couple of months, my sugar will literally be so condensed that I will have to break it up with a fork. I'll basically have to crush all the sugar before I bake with it. So I am actually going to sift these ingredients together just because sugar I'm fine right now. So I'm putting 350 grams of sugar in the bowl. I am doing about 25% rye for this, so it's a little bit, it really even adds the hardiness and the nuttiness of the cake. So I am doing 165 grams of all-purpose flour, 55 grams of rye flour, about 85 grams of just regular cocoa, not Dutch processed, 1.5 teaspoon kosher salt. This is just going in the bowl because I think this is too fine for it to go through. 1.5 tablespoons baking powder. This also is already a little clumpy. 1.5 teaspoon baking soda. Okay, so dry ingredients. Let's do a quick whisk because I put in the sugar and the salt at the bottom. Wet ingredients. I'm gonna do 2 eggs. Okay. I think everyone should bake based on weights because I didn't realize how heavy my flour cups were until I started weighing them. When I started weighing ingredients, my cakes went from dry or failing to rise or just kind of not really being flavorful to like instantaneously getting so much better. Also, once I learned to like scrape down the bowl aggressively and to really beat eggs in, that's a different story. Here's a good example. This measuring cup, it's kind of hard to see, but when it's sitting flat on the counter, I am probably 1/8 of an inch below the 1 cup line, and this is a cup of milk. By weight, this is a cup of milk. Also, I hate when people use liquid measures in milliliters because a cup of milk, I believe it's something like 240 milliliters. Well, this doesn't have a 40 milliliter line. It goes by 50s. So if I need 240 milliliters, or sometimes you'll see recipes that say like 136 milliliters, there's no way that this can get this accurate, right? Use weight. I know it's scary, and personally it's not what I grew up with, but man, a kitchen scale is so cheap, and it makes an unbelievable difference in the quality of your bakes. Okay, so that was my milk. 1 tablespoon vanilla. We've got 64 grams of just regular oil. It's just vegetable oil for me. And if I were you, if I were not recording myself, I would not have all of these in these little vessels. I would put them directly, I would weigh them directly into the bowl. Since, in my experience, pouring this 128 grams of tahini into this bowl, using a spatula to wipe it out, I'll probably only lose like 1/2 gram to 1 gram. So maybe it'll be like 126.5 or 127 grams of tahini. But, you know, especially if you're doing big batches, actually, if you're doing big batches, it's not that big of a deal. But especially if you need only like a tablespoon of oil, it's just, you're losing a decent percentage of it when you put it into the bowl. Okay. Wet into the dry. Very thick. but that's because final ingredient is 170 grams boiling water. Now, if you're not a very precise person, you may want to do this in a different vessel, but, you know, 168, do I dare? 169, playing with fire. Oh, 171. Okay. Like, it's very runny now, as chocolate cake recipes often are. I also always weigh before I divide something in half. If you can do that by eye, God bless you. I cannot. If I try to do it by eye, I fully put 2/3 in one and 1/3 in the other and think, I'm like, oh, that looks great. Oh my God, this is gonna be so much cake. Okay, I'm gonna throw these in the oven for about half an hour. Okay, while my chocolate tahini cakes bake, I'm going to whip up my cheddar creamy buttercream because we're going to spread my buttercream kind of in sheets, like big slices of cheese, and then set it to chill in the fridge. My thought is it'll chill in the fridge and get decently kind of firm. I'll peel it off, stick it between the layers of cake, and then leave it at room temperature to kind of like, for those points to kind of fold down like cheese slices. Yeah, never done anything like that, but the theory of it works. So I've got a pot of water on the stove, heating up to simmer. I'm putting 4 egg yolks in this beater. I'm going to whip this sugar and this egg yolk until it's decently thick. Yeah, that feels about right. It's lighter in color, it's much thicker. And this was probably about a minute, 45 seconds to a minute on medium. Now, this thick sugar yolk mixture is gonna go over a double boiler for maybe 3 or 4 minutes. I want the sugar to melt, and I want it to get to about 140 degrees. That sanitizes the egg yolks, warms up the sugar, melts the sugar, and then I'll whip it back up. If I should add even more color, but that really says cheddar cheese. Oh. I just had an idea. What if I added the cheese packet from mac and cheese? Like, that is cheese to the nth degree. Now, my concern is the cheese itself will not actually, the cheese powder itself won't actually melt. Like, I'll need to add more liquid to the buttercream, which if this was an American buttercream, I could do. But because it's a yolk-based buttercream, I don't know if I can. Ugh. It's very cheesy though. What to do. Oh no! Well, now I've done it. Oh boy, Andy. What have you done? Oh no. Oh, that tastes so good. It's a little gritty, but I beat it on medium for maybe a minute. I'm gonna beat a little bit longer. The water from the butter is helping powder dye dissolve a little bit. Oh man. I should have measured how much I used. Next time. And there will be a next time. I'm going to spread out my buttercream in just shy of 9-inch squares. Okay. So when I write this up, I'm actually going to increase this by about maybe double to a half. Like cheddar cheese, but because it's so creamy and yolky, there's also it's almost like a egg on your burger kind of situation, but make it frosting. Before I actually assemble the cake, I'll take them out of the freezer 15 minutes ahead of time. They're not going to be in there long. They're going to be in there for just a couple hours. Just get really firm so that when I peel them, I really want a crisp sheet of buttercream. It's time to make my toasted sesame cake. This thing's going to be huge. Whisk, whisk, whisk. Oh my God. This is the part I'm so nervous about. How much batter do I put in each of these? I feel like the hemisphere cake should have more, but maybe that's just, I guess not. Heating element, there. So I'm making this Brundleburger at 8 inches because I thought I only had an 8-inch hemisphere pan, which means I'm making 5 8-inch cake layers. For who? Not only do I have a 6-inch hemisphere cake pan, I've got 2. It feels like I should have something else, and I wonder if I'll regret not having frosting in my Brundleburger. But we'll see. Okay. I don't have any extra buttercream, so I'm just going to take a little bit of butter. Use that as my way to stick my bottom cake layer on. Bun, cheese, patty, cheese, bun. Yeah. Oh, it's sticking. That's not at all what I wanted to have happen. Okay. Serenity, no. Maybe I can get... Anyway, let's throw some shredded cheddar cheese on this cake. Why not? Also, here's another mess. I almost forgot. Remove this parchment paper. Wow. I was so cocky. Things are really starting to go awry. Wow, okay. Likelihood that I have shredded cheddar cheese in my hair, high. No. Oh my God, Andy, what? Oh my God. Wow. Wow. You know, I don't know how this Brundleburger with toasted sesame and cheddar buttercream is going to taste. But I can tell you, she looks Like a big cheeseburger puppet. I gotta say, for actually doing zero decoration, it kind of looks like a hamburger, right? It kind of looks like a big, it looks like if the Jim Henson Company were to make a hamburger Muppet, this is what it is. And I think that's really my aesthetic. Now there really is not that much frosting, so there's not a lot holding the Brundleburger together. Kind of like Jeff Goldblum at the end of The Fly. There's not a lot holding him together. Ah, shit. Okay. Oh God, it's just cake and cheese and viscera. Oh my God, what did I do? Well, the sesame cake is really good. It's so weird. Okay. It's so weird. And it's so unique that it's like I'm having a hard time telling if I like it or not. The thing that's throwing me off is like chocolate and the cheddar. Oh. Okay, well that bite had a lot more buttercream, and I liked it a lot more. Okay. Actually, so it needs more buttercream. I was nervous. I was nervous about the buttercream being too off, so I didn't make that much of it, but if I were to make this again, I would make a lot more buttercream, and I would just basically put it just between the layers, kind of like it is now, just thicker layers of it. The cakes themselves are very delicious. Also, more buttercream would help because it would actually hold together then, which this is not doing. I didn't know how this was going to turn out, but honestly, I'd make this again. I'd make it with more buttercream. And that's it. I think honestly everything else, the cake layers are delicious. The eyes are adorable. Okay. Well, thank you again for watching The Cakes Have Eyes. My name is Andy. Please subscribe, like, share with friends. You can find the recipe cards for this and a write-up on how I put all this together and some more thoughts on Geena Davis's incredible turn in The Fly on thecakeshaveeyes.com. Otherwise, hope to see you next time and live deliciously. Bye. Oh no. Oh no. I just made a 10-pound cake. Oops.